Hey guys, this is Jen from Scan and Cut Canvas and Scallop on Facebook. Okay, engraver. So I have finally accomplished the engraver for our scan and cut. I have two builds. This one is for thicker items. Okay, so this is made out of the deep blade holder. This is a dedicated engraver. Alright, the reason that I had to build this one is for, like I said, thicker items, and you can see how thick this is. This is really thick. Okay, if you go to use something like this universal pen holder and you put this engraver in it, it can catch the edge, drag across here, and just make a holy hot mess. This is brought way back into the actual holder, and if you notice, the end is missing. Let me grab the tool that I use to remove the end. Okay, so I use these. Alright, granted they ain't fancy, but it works. On my channel you won't get fancy. You notice my nails aren't fancy, sorry, but I am a farmer and I work with my farm animals, so I can't have those fancy ridiculous nails. Alright, so this is what I did. I have a blade in here, so I am not going to squish this one off. I took this, opened it up, and started clipping. Clipped it all the way back to the thick part of the housing. Okay, just like that. So there wasn't anything left of this little tube piece that sticks out there. Alright, so this is the removable type tip. This one in here isn't. Okay, this is a permanent one. So if you have the removable tip engraver, that's what you use to build this type. This is recommended for thicker items because it allows you to back this way up. Now, if I use just a thin sheet of metal like this, this will not work on this unless I build this up. Okay, it won't reach it. That's because this is designed for thicker things. Okay, it has to be able to move and lift. Alright, and if you use something like this, it's already so thick, a lot of times it will not be able to lift it and it'll just drag on there. So that's why I have created two different ones for the things that I do. Alright, I do have the Scan and Cut 2 that I will be doing all of this on, and the thickness recommendations by Brother on that is 2 millimeters. Okay, the originals are 1.5 millimeters per Brother. Okay, and that's the maximum thickness that they recommend you stick into your machine. Alright, you can see the depth difference in this. Okay, let me see right there. So there's quite a significant difference, oops, sorry, in depth right there. Okay, and that makes a huge difference when you are engraving. Alright, so with this one, let's go back to this one. What I did was I used air dry clay, the Sculpey clay. I packed it in here, okay, all around this, because this tip, you can tap down in there to get it to hold real well. There's a plastic piece. This is all glued on here too, so I also glued this cap on. If you pull the cap off, you'll see there's magnets and all that stuff in here. But there's a plastic piece. You can tap this down and it'll rest nicely in that plastic piece. What I recommend doing is putting one of these on there and doing some tests before you do all of the final solidifying in there. So let's see. Let me measure how far this one sticks out. Sorry. This one sticks out about a, let me see, sure would be nice if my micrometer had batteries, huh? This one sticks out. Let me measure it from this end. About 1, 2, 3, about 3/8. So this sticks out about 3/8 of an inch from this part. Okay, so this part right here, it sticks out about 3/8 of an inch from that. Alright. For all of you that measure in other measurements, go get the converter, 3/8 inch to whatever you use, okay? Alright, this one, you figure that out by setting it in here. That's adjusted by the holder, remember, okay? So this one is nice and stiff, it's all taken care of. Put your air dry clay in there. You can put some air dry clay at the top and then some glue, and that'll solidify it. Let it dry at least 24 hours, okay? Don't be messing with it before that, because what you'll do is you'll end up knocking it around in there and just hollowing it out. So don't do that. Don't play with it until it's dry. Okay? This one, well, you got it and you think it's all good. Watch this. Sorry, phone rang. Oops. Alright. So watch this. See how that moves? No, 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 no. Let's see if we can see these. Let's bring you down onto these. I'm trying to focus this. Okay, see how crappy those turned out? That's because when I was doing this, I was watching it move. Okay, so instead of being nice and firm, it was wobbling. If you have any wobble or wiggle in your embosser, just like this, see how that wobbles and wiggles in there? Okay? You are going to have such crappy looking letters and stuff. It will not stay on the path that you have. Okay, look at that. That is absolutely terrible. Awful. Just horrible looking. So we need to figure out a way to stop this from wiggling. Well, yeah, you could stuff this with all that air dry clay, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to ruin your universal pen holder. Well, you could, but I don't recommend it. So how can we control the wobble and the wiggle? Pretty easy. You can take a piece of plastic, just like I've done here, and you're going to cut it and you're going to fit it in there. That removes, I mean, look at that. There is absolutely, hang on, there is absolutely no wiggle in that at all. Okay? So what we're going to do, excuse me, is we're going to cut this to fit in here. Okay? Then we're going to take out the inside and allow it to come and sit down right on that. Alright? So we're going to get it nice and even and take care of all that. And yes, I also do shave off all of the backs, okay? Because if you want a fill, or you want it, whatever you want to use, shave the back off, and that will allow you to do any of the cut or draw however you choose, okay? And you shave the back off using a Dremel tool, and I'll show you all of that too as soon as we get to that. But this is how I cut it. Don't use a machine to cut this, because this is a really sturdy plastic. You need sturdy in order to hold that bad boy in there, because you think about it, you're engraving on metal. And that metal has to be hard and firm. My problem is finding metal things to engrave. I done went through most of the stuff in my house, so it's pretty cool. Just don't chop your finger off when you're doing it, like I will probably end up doing. Okay, for those of you that have the half-cut machines, I do not recommend you do this. And why? Is because it'll engrave really well on the right and skip the left, or it'll carve into the right side and engrave really well on the left. You do not want that to happen, okay? Avoid that at all costs, because you can seriously damage your machine. You will know if you have a machine that does the half cuts. Those, like I said, they cut really well on the right side and not so hot on the left. They'll leave like the vinyl attached or the paper attached, things like that, okay? Just do not damage your machine. When I do this, when I do my engraving, I'll show you, my pressure's sometimes all the way down to -9, so there's not a lot of pressure, okay? So we'll remove all the pressure, take all that off the machine, so our machine is not in danger of over-stressing itself, okay? When I tried this with my one machine, there we go, and it had the half cuts, I could not get anything to work right, and my machine was really working her tail off. Alright, I'm going to cut this. I'm not even going to make a hole. Yeah, I can make a hole. Here's my little Dremel tool that I use for everything. I'm addicted to this thing. Oh! I'm shooting stuff all over the place. So you can use your Dremel tool or your little hole puncher, things like that, to make your hole. Just put it right in the center. Let me get some, I'll hold it with this so I have actual better grab of it. Maybe I'm all thumbs today. You get to see me and how I go through creating things with this video. I love to create stuff. Dreaming up new things is so much fun to me. And people ask me where I get these ideas from. Well, I just sit there and think about things that maybe we can do with our scan and cuts. And I love doing things just like this. And if it's lacking something, well, how can we do it so that we can do it just like this? You know, what can we do so that we can engrave? Make sure you don't stab yourself with that engraving tip, because man, those puppies are sharp. And please don't ever try to use a blade to engrave with, because what those blades will do is they'll actually cut into that metal. It's not quite down there yet, but I need to make sure I'm not pushing this out. I need to kind of bring it back a little bit. The blades will cut into your metal, and then it gets kind of like a mind of its own and takes off and does really bad stuff. It'll make its own path, and you do not want that to happen. Alright, let's try to make a little bit bigger hole. Stop! Okay, let's see. Oh, by George, I think we got it. Yeah, there we go. So that sits right down in there. Let me stuff that thing down there. And I don't want it falling off as it's working around my scan and cut. And you know how it vibrates. And it's going to really vibrate because it's engraving. So what I am going to do is I am going to go ahead and put some glue around this engraving tip. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I need to make sure that this is seated in there and that everything fits correctly. Okay, see, that engraver slipped down there a little bit, so I need to back it up slightly. Now push it down slightly so that it stays where it needs. Okay, now that's perfect right there. Well, it looks like this will go down even more, so if that's the case, I'm going to push that bad boy down there. So let's keep on pushing. Okay, so you see how I'm doing this. I'm going to go ahead and stuff this all the way down in there, and I'll come back when I'm ready to go on to the next step. Okay, so here's what the final end result looks like. That's tucked safely down in there. Okay. And you see the split in it? That kind of helps it seed down in there. It's a little bit easier putting it down there. Okay? So the split is right there. Right there. And then that helps it seed. Okay? So now everything fits. Everything fits appropriately. Okay, so there it sits in its little holder. And we're good to go with this one. And we are good to go with this one. This is the deeper one, okay? Because I don't want this one dragging across it. So this is the answer to the deeper one. I'm going to clean up all my mess and we're going to get going. Okay, I want to show you quick. This is a difference between unstable. Okay, top two are unstable. And these are stable. You can see the huge difference. Okay, so this is unstable. This is stable. Alright, and so there's a huge difference in how well this engraver works. If you want to let it flop around, you're going to end up with a 2-year-old crayon drawing on a wall. This is absolute perfect. Okay, this is perfection right here. Alright, so now I am going to dedicate a mat to my engraving, and here is why. Okay, because I know that I do not want my little pieces skirting off, taking off, going and hiding somewhere inside of my machine. That would not be good. So you can use one of your low tack or whatever tack mats. If you don't want to do this, then I probably recommend not doing this, okay? Because you want to make sure your stuff is going to be stuck down really well. So this is what I do. I take and I put this little guy on here. I add a little bit of extra tack to this mat via this thing, okay? Then I figure out where I put that extra tack. Oh, there's a little extra over there. Then I'm going to put my little piece on here. Make sure it's straight. And I squish it down. Okay? You're not adding anything that's going to get caught in the machine. Okay? And actually, you can go rub over any of the extra tack that you've added to it and you can remove it. The reason that I'm saving this mat for engraving is because anytime you engrave, you're going to get little pieces of metal that come off. Okay? When you do that, I highly recommend that you have one mat dedicated to that engraving, because all of those little pieces will come off onto this mat. Okay? So when I am done engraving on this mat, I carefully remove it from my machine, take it to my trash can, and I clean it. Okay? I make sure that there's no free-floating metal that is going to get into my machine and wreak havoc. Alright? I also remove my embossers, safely take them away. So the embosser sits right, or the engraver sits right here. I pop that out, pull that out, then I eject my mat. So I am removing all chances of metal coming with me. Okay? So do not eject your mat first, leave your engraver sitting there, and then pull that out. Pull your engraver out first, then your mat. So you're taking all of that with you. The mat is your catch-all for anything that may be stuck on here still and fall off, okay? Do some machine maintenance afterwards, just to ensure that you have got everything nice and clean. What you do not want is any of that little metal stuff getting on your scan glass and scratching it. But as far as I have seen, everything so far rests right here on the mat. Okay? Alright, and you can actually see, because I just used this, there's a few tiny little pieces stuck to this mat. So it is a really good idea to have a high-tack zigged mat and then apply the extra adhesive to hold your piece. And you can see that little guy is not going to fall off, okay? You do not want your metal little engraving pieces to fall off either. So right now what I'm trying to do is give you all of the things that can happen or will happen when you do engraving. Up to you if you want to do it or not, okay? But just know that that is what happens when you engrave, okay? You may want to also have a little vacuum, a little hand vacuum with you, so that you can go ahead and suck up anything when you are done before you eject or remove anything, okay? But a zig mat or a really high tack mat, so this is a case where when applying your zig, for an engraving mat only, you would have big puddles of blue stuff so that it's nice and sticky, okay guys? And understand, that would be an engraving mat only. So you may want to even write that on there so you don't accidentally grab it and try to use it for vinyl or paper and it shreds all over. Alright, so let's get moving. I'm going to do a dog tag, and here you see I do have this, okay? So we're going to do some metal. Understand, with this, like copper sheeting, you must be very careful. You will only see me handle this like this. When I do application, I apply it with my pink scraper. You will not ever see me touch this with my bare hands, okay? Because you can cut yourself so easily with this stuff. If you do have thick gloves, that's fine. But please do not ever run your finger down the edge of this stuff. It will cut you, and man, does that hurt. Okay, so I'm going to go grab a piece of that. I'm going to stick it on here, and then we're going to cut one of these, or engrave one of these, and then we're going to engrave on the foil. Okay, so to apply the foil, what I will do is I will take this and apply this stuff right to the ends. Okay, because the last thing you want this to do is pop up as it's in your... Oh crap, it looks like it's got stuff on it already. Oh well, this is just for a demonstration, so... But what you don't want it to do is you don't want the ends to pop up. Alright, so now let me grab my little pink thingy. Let's go over these edges nice, so that it all stays down. You'll be amazed how easily this does release. Okay, so now we're ready to go to the machine. Alright, so here we are at the machine. Let's pull up a pattern. Okay, let's do the background scan. And this is background scanning in what we have on our mat. It's my most favorite thing about the machine. No other machine offers this. No Silhouette, no Cricut. Only the Scan and Cut. It's what makes our machine so awesome. Well, one of the things. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so let's come in here so I can place this over it and make it bigger if I want. I don't think I want it any bigger. There we go. Okay, let's cut. Start, okay, start. And I have to start, okay, start because I have shaved the back off of my little holder there. And I do that so that if I want to do a fill at any point in time, I can. And I don't have to change the file. Hang on, let's take a look. Oh, look at how pretty. Okay, so I'm going to carefully remove this. And there it is. That's what a solid embossing tip gives you. Okay? So now let's go after our little sheet here. Okay? Oh, this camera thingy gives me a headache. Alright, so I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to remove my embossing, or my engraving tip. Sorry, I probably keep saying embossing because I'm so used to the embosser. So now I'm going to put this big Bahama Mama in there. That thing weighs like 150 pounds. Okay, so let's come get our pattern, save data. Let's do the little E. Oh, well, it comes in Gigunja. Let's drag this down here, but let's make it a lot smaller. Now, I have the Shave Back UPH. I think that is. No, that one isn't shaved. So, let's hit cut. Let me go in and check what my cut pressure. I want to take that down a little bit. Okay, let's hit OK. Attach appropriate holder. There we go. And I need my pressure down because this is soft metal. I don't want it carving through there. Okay, so let's see how we're doing so far. If it's not capturing it good enough, I'm going to increase that pressure. Start again. Yep, so I'm going to hit quit cutting. You see it didn't even touch it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to increase this pressure back to a 1. And hit cut, start, OK, start. Okay, so that's giving it some and you can still see with that plastic tip up in there, it still wants to move a little bit. That is why I'm really not a fan of this type. It still wants to move. Although you'll see when this is done, it's not a lot of movement. It's not destroying the design, but it isn't, it's not, how do I want to say this? It's not really sturdy like this one is. Okay. So we have ourselves a really pretty thing going on down here. Let's take a look at it. Look at that. How pretty that is. You see that? That is so pretty. A nice fine engrave. So now if I want it deeper, I can set my pressure. I can come in here, set my pressure to a 0. Go over it again. But that gave it such a really pretty emboss. Let's go over and take a good close look at it at the table. Okay, so here we are back at the table. Again, I do not ever touch this. I use my pink scraper and I go after it that way. Okay, and unfortunately you can see the lines that evidently I went over before. I still don't remember using this, but evidently I did. You can see a nice emboss starting to, or engrave starting to happen in here. So I think what I would do is I would go ahead and I would hit that again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give that an actual deeper emboss, but I think I'm going to do it on this side where there is no writing, so I'm going to smooth over, smooth that over, take all that out, get rid of that lumpy whatever I just ran over it. and get rid of the engraved. Okay, so now I'm going to go after this side and see how deep and nice of an engrave I can get. So let me put this on this side, because the glue that you're adding, understand, this will be trimmed away. Okay, so don't be afraid of the glue tape that you're adding. This is something that you will trim away. Off of your actual media. Okay, no, you're not going to be cutting your mat. You'll trim it off of your media. And again, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it is just a suggestion. So I will be right back. That was much better. Okay, so this is actually at a cut pressure of 1, speed of 1. Okay, so you can see this engrave went much deeper than the other one. Okay, so that turned out really, really, really pretty. It's hard to see on shiny metal through a camera what this looks like, but this is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so then you will trim out around here. Okay, so then you'll get rid of your glue places. Alright, never handle that metal, the bare edges, with your fingers, please. I don't want you to cut yourself. But that is, so this was done with this, and these awesome little dog tags were done with the thicker one. I much prefer this one, but for thinner items this works just as well. Alright, and I did observe this, the actual tip, as it was moving through the media. Okay, so as this was going around, and this tip is not moving, but this up here does move. So this is held in place by that plastic piece. Okay, it does not allow that to move, but this up here was moving. Okay, alright, please understand, I do not get to YouTube for your comments, okay, or for your questions. This video is designed for my members and for the brother company to view. Alright, I highly encourage anyone that's viewing this video to please come to my Facebook page for help. I do not encourage anybody to try this if you are not a member of my Facebook group, because you should not do this without having help immediately available to you. There are lots of people out there that say I recommend dangerous things. That is absolutely as ridiculous as they are. Okay? Do not do this if you do not have my help available to you. Join my page and I will be there with you every step of the way if you would like to try this. Again, I gave you several please don't try this at the beginning of this video. Okay, however, if you want to, and you don't have a machine that half cuts and you're not worried about all the other stuff that I mentioned, then please join my Facebook group, Scan and Cut Canvas and Scal Help on Facebook. I cannot be more specific, okay? Alright guys, not to sound mean, but I just really need people to understand that sometimes when you're trying new things, okay, you really need to have the help there and available to you. And that's what this statement is about. Alright, time to go have some engraving fun with our Scan and Cuts. If you have questions, the link to my Facebook group is in the whatever you call it for this video. I think it's called the description. Thanks guys. I hope you really enjoy this because it is an absolute blast. I mean, come on, look at this. This is amazing. And that is all done by our little Scan and Cuts. And yes, any machine, the 100, 250, 300, 550s, all of the machines can do it. The originals and the Scan and Cut 2s, any one of them can do it. Okay guys? Have a great day. Thank you.